Hello and welcome to today's session about semantic anchors or semantic contracts. Well, the reason why I have this session here today is, for one thing, I had a session about vice coding and one about guided coding. And both of these sessions were pretty long, but also they were really interesting in the way that we put much more effort in planning all the code that we want to write, in planning the project and describing it more in detail. And by doing that, we wrote a lot. We had to prompt a lot, and therefore also the context window got bigger and bigger. And then I came across, well, Semantic Anchors and Semantic Contracts by Ralf D. Müller, which I have with me here today. And hopefully these anchors can help to guide the AI in the direction we want it to have without writing as much as it's needed without these anchors. Right, so thank you very much for being here. I want to introduce to you Ralf Müller. Hi, Ralf.
Hi, Johannes. Ralf D. Müller, sorry to correct you. Yes. I use my middle initial because otherwise it's such a common name that you will not find me. And with Ralf D. Müller, you can ask Google, and you can even ask the LLM about me, and I will be found. So that's why the middle initial is so important. Otherwise, it's not important.
All right. Okay. So, Ralf, you have over 25 years of software development experience, which is quite a lot. You are Arc42 committer. You are the creator of docToolchain. You are keynote speaker and a co-host at Software Architektur im Stream, which is, I think it's a German exclusive stream, but which is really, really interesting to me. Yeah. So, Ralf, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit more?
A little bit more. I don't know what I should say. I mean, over 25 years in software development, and everything is now gone because I do not develop anymore. The LLM does it. So this doesn't count anymore. Let's go back in time a little bit. 10 years ago, I tried to dive deeper into software architecture. And so I noticed that when you create software architecture, you have to communicate your architecture, and you communicate the architecture best by documenting it. So I came across Arc42, the framework created by Peter Ruschka and Gernot Starke, and started to use it and dive deep into the architecture documentation. That's where I started to build my own open source project, docToolchain. And while I perfected this documentation thing, I stumbled, like everybody, across GenAI and LLMs. It was late 2023. I started to create my own chatbot just to get the API to get it to know, and dive deep into it, try to understand everything. And now I'm trying to get back to use my documentation knowledge and the AI knowledge to build better systems and help architects to create better systems with AI and documentation together. And now the funny thing is that we just notice that the input for the AI is just text and the output is text. So the docs as code approach is perfect for the AI. Yeah. And now all those puzzle pieces come together.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
My history.
Okay, cool. So a little roadmap. What we want to do today, we want to I want to have a little overview over the semantic anchors from you, Ralf, and also the semantic contracts. And then we'll get right into implementing a simple train scheduling application for model railroads, where we'll use Quarkus and Vardin, probably Hibernate and PostgreSQL a little bit, maybe Flywheel. We'll see how far we'll go down. And I'll start implementing, and then if my tokens run out, or about half, you take over.
But let's see. Maybe we can save so many tokens through the semantic anchors that you will not run out of tokens. It will be quite interesting for me because most technologies you named, I'm not familiar with. I never used Quarkus or Vardin or. Yeah, I used Java and I know about SQL, but yeah, I think since a year I do not code my own anymore. So even no side projects. So let's get into those semantic anchors and how they were discovered. So when you follow some of those AI experts on LinkedIn, then you will notice that you have different levels of, everybody tries to find the holy grail, the path to the holy grail, to let the LLM code in a perfect way. Some people seem to already have found the path, others still are searching and struggling. And there's one guy, Reuven Cohn, who really found the path in the early stages. It seems that he found the path. He always talked about he creates swarms with his Claude code and lots of agents, and they are all running in the right direction. And so he created a framework called Spark. And I always hesitated to give it a try because it sounded to be so complex, and there was a script for it. And one weekend I analyzed the script and found out that it was just a parameterized prompt. So you just gave it some parameters, whether it should do test-driven development, how often it should commit, something like this. It constructed then a prompt out of it. I gave it a try, and it did perfect test-driven development. I thought, wow, that's one part of the puzzle. And so I took a look at the prompt, searched for the instructions, all those many instructions you need to guide the LLM to do test-driven development. And I found nearly nothing. I just found use TDD London School. That's it.
Okay, that was enough that this was doing exactly what you wanted or what you expected it with TDD.
Exactly. I didn't know London School before. I asked Claude, hey, what's TDD London School? Oh, yeah, TDD London School. That means it's a mockist approach. You do first mocks and then that. And I don't care about the details. But by saying TDD London School, I noticed I triggered something, a clean definition within the training data of the LLM. And it also told me that there's also a Chicago School and Detroit School. Detroit School is nearly the same as Chicago School. Okay, that's interesting. And I thought, I found something. Something was triggered in the knowledge. So if I now scroll down here on our README page, where is it? Here. I think this is a quite good visualization of the thought behind it. If you have a normal prompt, if you tell the LLM, hey, to do test-driven development or write an architecture decision or document the architecture, then you hear on the left side, yes, the LLM knows how to create a architecture documentation or how to do test-driven development. Yeah, first write tests and then But that's not a clear definition. If you find a semantic anchor here on the right side, like TDD London School or ADR, so Architecture Decision Record, according to Nygaard, Michael Nygaard once wrote a famous blog post which explained exactly how you write an architecture decision record, the chapters or paragraphs and what should be in there. Or when we talk about architecture documentation, just say Arc42 and it knows 12 chapters and it knows the content. So I created a blog post on LinkedIn to talk about it, to tell what I found. And someone said, hey, we should start a collection of those semantic anchors. And so, yes, I asked Claude to create this website. And together with Claude, we refined it, made it better and better and better, and started to collect those semantic anchors. We now have 136. And to be honest, many of those are just Fachbegriffe. What do you say in English? Just terms.
Yeah, technical terms, I guess.
Technical terms.
Yeah.
But most of them, I mean, when we talk face to face, I don't know whether you already know TDD London School, whether you already know Arc42. So we first have to find a language and see on which terms you already know. That's a big difference, because with those terms, I know that the LLM knows them. And to be honest, most of the terms I didn't know before. For instance, if you want that LLM writes in a good English style, just tell it to write plain English according to Strunk and White. Who's Strunk and White? But it works. And in German, you ask it to write Gutes Deutsch nach Wolf Schneider. Never heard of Wolf Schneider before, but it works. And so we collected those semantic anchors, and most of them work quite well for doing software development.
Okay, so when I first saw that site, I actually thought that these are little files that you can download and add like something like a skill to the LLM, but it's actually really just a collection for you to type into your prompt. So if you want to have the LLM output in good English, you write, hey, give me the answer in plain English according to Strunk and White, and that's it.
That's it.
Okay.
So you can write them as a prompt template, as a I don't know, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, as soon as you got to know them, you also remember them and just type them in. So they are too short to be used in a skill or something like this. You just trigger the knowledge of the LLM. And that's the magic. Stefan Schmidt says these are magic spells. Either you know them and the LLM does what you want, or you don't know them and you struggle.
So that's more or less the point. You have to know all these words, or you have to find them here and search for them. Otherwise, you can't tell the LLM what to do.
Yeah, so this is my open spell book available for everybody.
Exactly. With a little explanation as well. But the explanation is just for the human to understand what it does.
Yes, that's the funny part about it. I mean, there's a link to propose a new anchor, and you only have to name the anchor, one or 3 words, and the LLM will check it. And the LLM will check itself whether it triggers something, whether there is a clear definition behind it. So if someone proposes something, I think we already have some new proposals, then I assign it to GitHub Copilot or Claude, and they do the rest. It's really cool.
All right.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah. Okay.
So
and I can search for it with roles. Exactly. You have these roles at the top.
Yes. So we thought about categorizing it in roles because, many things are for software developers. Some things are also quite good for product owners or QA engineers, things like that. So we try to categorize it. And by the way, we use the MECE principle for coming up with those categories, because this means you want to have a mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive categorization. And again, the LLM knows what to do.
Yeah, that's cool. And that was my first thought as well when I looked at all of these what the anchors. Then I thought, okay, I'm supposed to know all of these terms. I don't know any of them except like TDD or something like that. But it's good to know that you didn't know them as well.
Yeah.
At least not all of them.
So you first start with some of them, and you notice that they work, that it makes your work with the LLM easier. And sometimes you come back and see whether there are new anchors which you can use. Claude is also in the progress of creating some small videos, 60 seconds, about those anchors. One you will get when you enter the page at first, and you can reopen the window with this small tag. So this was the first approach to the anchors. So this way I discovered them and I started to work with them, and noticed that for all those phases of the spec-driven development process. So there was an interview on software architecture in stream with Simon Martinelli, and he works with a spec-driven approach for quite a while, and he says it works because he uses it in real world projects. And so when he said it works and explained it, I thought, hey, come on, we can use those semantic anchors to do spec-driven development. And I started to see what magic spells I need. And as soon as I got them all together, I asked Claude to write down the workflow for doing spec-driven development with semantic anchors. So this is what we want to do now, quite now in some minutes. And you have to stop me if it's too much theory. But for instance, when you start to code, you want to create your agents.md file, and you want to put some cross-cutting concerns in this agents.md file. For instance, that you want the LLM to document everything in plain English according to Strunk and White, want to use conventional commits. Docs as code according to Ralf D. Müller. That's what I do. Docs as code is a really broad term, but since I work in the open space, do open source software since 10 years about docs as code, the system knows about docs as code according to Ralf D. Müller and knows to use docToolchain and AsciiDoc instead of Markdown. Yeah, and here you can then see that, for instance, requirements discovery. We will do this in just a few minutes.
Oh yes, I'm excited about that. With the Socratic method, that's interesting.
Yes, the Socratic method is well known to the LLM, and you ask it to use the Socratic method to clarify the requirements, and that's it. You don't have to tell it how it asks the questions.
Yeah. Or when.
Yeah. So, as you can see, there are those solutions where you have those really large prompts. For instance, if you ask the LLM to create a prompt that explains an LLM how to do test-driven development, I tried it once, 197 lines of prompt. You can't maintain this.
Yeah.
If you just use TDD, London School or Chicago School, then it's maintainable. And all prompts which are here are quite small. But and now you already announced the semantic contracts.
Ralf, before we go into that, just to not forget Martin's question, you missed TDD Hamburg School by Ralf Westphal, but Jörg already answered it and said, well, you can just go to GitHub and add it as a feature request, which I would have suspected this as well, right?
Yeah, with Ralf Westphal, I had a magic moment on LinkedIn. Ralf had a post where he explained how he does, uses a dark factory to develop code. So the LLM does everything and he doesn't review the code. And I agreed with him and said that it's so, you get a new feature every 10 minutes and this is like a drug. And he replied, what? Every 10 minutes? You're slow. I create features every 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
So Ralf is cool.
All right.
Yes. So.
All right. Okay. Okay. So let's get into the contracts.
Should we just add the TDD Hamburg School? Give it a try.
Sure.
So that we have already a first result. With F? With F.
He wrote it with F, yeah. Yeah.
Another time. I don't know why it has to put in there twice. And there should be a great button. Great!
But this doesn't trigger anything yet.
Not yet. I have to trigger it manually.
Yeah, I think that's better. Okay.
I have to find the setting where it triggers automatically.
Well, I don't know if that's such a good move because then you have to pay for the request somebody else does, right?
Yeah.
In theory. Martin just wrote he'll add it later. Maybe he can just add some context to the feature request.
Great. Cool. So we are done.
Yes.
No, you want to code?
Yeah. Well, I want to see the contracts first, and then I think we can go to coding.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
The contracts. So I noticed that, yes, those semantic anchors are short, but I noticed that I have to repeat myself and have to take care that I always use the anchors. For instance, when I ask the LLM to create an architecture documentation, I always say, create an ARC42 architecture documentation with ADRs according to NIGARD and compare those options with a 3-point Pew matrix.
Okay.
Now, these were several anchors. So ADRs according to NIGARD, ARC42, and a Pew matrix is a decision matrix. And I like those because then you can easily compare those options. And yeah, I remember those the things by heart, but to type it over and over again is annoying. And there was a colleague who asked me, hey, come on, with Arc42, with the architecture documentation, the template, the LLM knows exactly about it because it's open source. But if I have, for instance, another document which describes the operating of the software, how can I create this as an anchor? And so I thought about it with Claude together, and Claude said, we could define it, but then it's not in the sense of the anchor, which is anchored in the training data. But we could create a contract. We could say in the agents.md file that, for instance, whenever we talk about a specification or spec, we mean, and then we use, for instance, use cases in Cockburn's fully dressed format, things like that. So we use another definition and define it with semantic anchors. There should be, architecture documentation, follows Arc42, C4 diagrams, ADR according to Nygaard, Q matrix. So these are the contracts where I say, come on, LLM, whenever I talk about architecture documentation, I mean exactly this. I create new definitions within the agents.md file, which are small. And here this subpage lets me select several of those definitions or all, copy or download them. And now we can start coding, because this will be our first task, to create the agents.md file and copy this over so that we don't have to specify those artifacts in detail. We can just then talk about architecture documentation, and it will automatically use those semantic anchors.
Okay.
Isn't it cool?
I think that's a really good idea. So, and by downloading those, I can adjust them however I like. So I can, for instance, I don't know, remove the stuff with the supplementary specifications if I don't want this.
Yes, you can do so.
It gives a good starting point.
Yes, and you can make up your own contracts. It's just a starting point.
Yeah, it's like a suggestion to start from. Yeah.
Yep.
So, do we want to have all of those? Yes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not too much. You can also copy them and create just an agents.md file. So, however you like.
Yeah. Okay. So these are all the semantic contracts you have. This is not. Do we need this? No.
You can remove it. You can leave it there.
Make it as short as possible. At this, yes, we know this. And this we simply copy here in a new file, which we call...
I'm not sure whether Claude picks up the agents.md file. I mean, it's a standard by now.
Yeah, it should.
It should?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. And if it doesn't, we'll see right away, I think.
You can ask Claude about it.
Yeah. Okay, so my setup is, because I just learned that last week with Docker sandboxes. So I have created one sandbox where I have my Claude project in it. And so this one runs in YOLO mode or in this bypass permissions mode, because it can't do anything outside of this sandbox.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we can ask, can you see, or no, what do we want to ask?
How will you structure architecture documentation?
Yeah, seems about right. Arc 42, I think that's built in the contract.
Yes, it didn't mention NiGARD. Ask him about ADRs.
What kind of ADRs?
Yeah, maybe.
Would you?
Kind could be too broad. Again, how would you structure?
Yeah, okay. Huh. Oh, okay,
NiGARD.
he says the most common format.
It doesn't say about the Pew matrix. Should we try to be safe and rename the agents MD?
Yeah, to CLAUDE.md?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Isn't it fascinating? I mean, we got the right answers, but because we know it's the best approach to use ARC42 and ADRs according to NiGARD, we are not sure whether it picked it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we
okay.
We should be sure.
All right.
Okay. So I think we already have the README in the project. So we could maybe do a /init. I don't know whether. Oh, we have our CLAUDE.md. We don't need an init. Just tell it to check the README to see what we want to code today.
Okay.
And
so we don't even tell it what to do, what to program. It should find that out of the README, which is basically in the README. Let's show that quickly. This is basically the description of the session we are just having.
Yes.
And somewhere we say what we want to build. Why this matters. Yeah. Actually, that's the only area that's important, probably.
That's all we know yet. So
well, one other thing, I didn't mention that. So I created this repository with a Docker Compose, which already has a PostgreSQL database, and it builds the Java application, and the Java application can be run. It's a simple Quarkus application with Vardin. I don't think there's anything more in it. Yeah, Hibernate is already in, but there's no real useful code. It's just an example view from Vardin.
Just to getting it started.
Exactly. So it will know that, but nothing more. Okay. Check the README and try to implement. No, try to plan.
No. Start to find out the requirements by asking me through the Socratic method, Socratic approach, the right questions, maximum 3 at a time, until you think you have all requirements.
Start to write the requirement.
No, not right yet. We just discuss.
Inquire.
Inquire, yeah.
Requirements for the application. Yeah.
Let's see how it works.
Okay. Okay, so just to show this really quickly, we have a few from Bremen, from MLOPS. I don't know that one. And Philip is also saying that we should have more viewers. That's what I keep saying as well. I don't know why we don't have 70,000 viewers yet, but we'll see.
We'll get more. 3 easy questions. Huh?
Okay, so what are easy questions? Oh yeah, the mutual exclusive.
Yes.
Things. Yeah.
I also always forget the second part. Collectively exhaustive.
Oh,
mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. So you have categories which span the whole domain but do not overlap. So
yeah, okay.
Domain.
I like that it's called round 1. So domain model scope. It mentions trains, stations, and schedules. Yeah. Does a schedule describe a timetable? Blah, blah. Okay, so I would have I imagined something with a timetable. Yeah.
Yes. Tell us.
So we just say timetable.
Yep.
Is that enough?
So
yeah.
when I run, I think that's okay. When I run those demos, there's a point where I say you decide. But
yeah.
LLM interaction. The README says interact with a system using structured LLM workflows. What does that mean concretely? Let's tell it that we want to have a CLI which can be used by an LLM.
Do we want that?
Well, you as a product owner, you have to decide.
Okay, I didn't think about this, because if we are using LLMs in our application, then we have to use probably LangChain4j and have some kind of LLM.
That's why I would like to turn it around. If we create a CLI which can be used by Claude, for instance, then we can use such a Claude session and tell Claude, hey, we have a new train which has to depart then and then from this station, and try to put it in the timetable. And through the CLI, it should be able to query the timetable and see where the train fits in.
But what LLM is running in this CLI?
No LLM in the CLI. The LLM is outside of the CLI, which is just Claude, which has access to the CLI.
Okay, now I get it. So you just want to be able to control the application through a CLI, and then Claude can control the. Yeah. Okay, got it.
That's what I would suggest.
Great. So we want to have CLI so that you can communicate with the application. Yep. So, all right. How can I shift to cycle? Can I make a line break without sending it?
String J. Control string J.
Okay.
So demo boundary. So we could tell Claude that we only have 1 hour, 20 minutes left, but it has a bad feeling for time.
Yeah.
So let's tell it that we want to have an MVP as fast as possible and then add features.
With what features? With
an MVP as fast as possible and then add features. That add more features, yeah.
Okay.
So you now already get a feeling of how I work. I mean, I do not create a product requirement document. I let Claude ask me questions so that it figures out what I want to build. And I let just Claude run free.
But that's exciting to me. So what comes out of this if we are done? If it's done asking questions, what will it create? And we'll see that.
It will create a file. I never looked at those files. It just works. It's magic. These are magic spells.
Okay.
So, CLI nature, LLM-powered CLI, U-type natural language, and the LLM translating app commands, or traditional structured CLI.
Traditional. That's what we want. We don't want a LLM inside the application.
Yes. Yes. Tell it that itself should be able to use the CLI.
You yourself.
You know, this is a point where 1 year ago, one would have said, let's use an MCP server. But since we have Claude, which has access to the shell, we can use a CLI.
Okay. MVP feature set. So what should work? Manage stations. Yes.
Just say yes. I think this is okay.
Yeah. Yes to all. Okay. So timetable detail.
Yes. Arrival and departure.
Okay. Okay. Martin is asking if we could switch to German. I wouldn't want that because we are recording this session, so it will be available afterwards on LinkedIn and YouTube as well. And maybe some English speakers will want to watch. And scrap account just landed. Okay.
Hey, come on. The CLI is a semantic contract between you and the application. It knows what a semantic contract is. That's great.
Okay. That's interesting. So it sees the CLI as a semantic contract.
CLI transport.
How is the CLI exposed? With a REST API, dedicated CLI binary jar, something else? Yeah, so I'm not really sure how that would work, to be honest. So if we have a Quarkus application running, then it's probably easier to have a REST API.
But this could be wrapped with jar. We can just use a REST API and it can discover it and create a skill for itself in Python, for instance, too. Come on, it doesn't matter. We just want to have fun.
Okay, I would say it's just a REST API that you can call through curl or any CLI call. Okay, 8. Schedule coordinate.
I don't know. I would just type you decide.
Or is one active? You can decide yourself. And conflict handling
constraints. Yes, that would be nice. It's not a must-have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was round 3.
It's
How many rounds do you usually have? Is it really depending on the size of this on the scope of the application, or?
You've seen normally when you get those questions, you think that you have to answer them exactly, not to break the flow. But as you've seen, you answered the first question and sent it, and then it picked up where we left. So normally I start to discuss those options and those features, those requirements. We get new ideas. But if we just do a demo, those 3 rounds are quite okay.
All right. It has everything it needs. Let me draft the PRD.
Product requirement document.
Yes, thank you. Model railroad enthusiasts need a way to plan and manage realistic train schedules. All right.
You see, because it uses a docs as code approach, according to Ralf D. Müller, it uses now ASCII-Doc. And ASCII-Doc has a wonderful feature because in nearly all environments, the diagram plugin is already installed. And the LLM knows how to create diagrams in ASCII-Doc. So you don't need any diagram skill or something like this. We will use it for the specs in a moment.
It's using Plan UML or Mermaid, right?
Most of the time it uses Plant UML.
Plant, yeah. Okay, Semantic Contract. MVP must-haves, yes. Business rules. So there are few. What are the business rules? Okay, and those are probably written down somewhere.
I guess in the PRD.
Yes, okay. Okay, so this is the PRD.
That's a table.
Yeah.
It already specified the interface. The API.
So you're saying I could probably see this or render this here
Yes, you
already?
have to go to the plugins, search for the ASCII-Doc plugin.
Yeah, okay.
It's quick.
ASCII-Doc, this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's the same with. No, I think Markdown is natively supported.
Could be, yeah.
But ASCII-Doc is just a bit more extensive. You can do more stuff with it, right?
You can more. So with Markdown, I think even tables are not defined, and you need tables for.
They are defined.
Depends on the
parser
dialect.
Yeah.
There are about 60 dialects. Most of them support tables, but I think the standard doesn't support tables. And with ASCII-Doc, you have includes. With ASCII-Doc, you have the diagrams plugin. And so, and the tables are quite nice. As you might have seen, you don't have to spread one row in one line. You can put each cell in another line, so it's more readable.
Oh, it doesn't want to show me the preview here for whatever reason. Here we go. Okay, yeah. Personas. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, so we have the actual user of the application, of the front end, and we have the agent, which is Claude code itself as a user of the CLI. Yeah.
So this is a part where you can go through it and review it.
Yeah. But you never do.
Most of the time I don't do it. because I want to see the result.
Yeah.
So
right.
When you are an agile product owner, you work most of the time exactly this way, that you just tell your team what you want to see and wait until you get the first iteration, the MVP. And that's how I work now. So
are you using this only for like MVPs to show something and then later on implement it thoroughly, or is this really something that you are using in production as well then?
It depends on the production. Can you wait a moment? Can you open the README, and there should be a link to the wipe coding risk radar. Maybe we can talk a little bit about this.
Is this no README? Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's annoying.
What is it doing? Here we go. Okay, what did you want to have?
The wipe coding risk radar, the second link.
Yes. Take this here.
Because, people always say that you have to review everything which is generated by the LLM. And if you think about it, the LLM creates in 5 minutes so much code that you need 5 hours to review it. But within those 5 hours, it already had created so much code, you can't review everything. So you have to find a way how to reduce the review. And so I talked with Claude again about the problem. And we came up with those 5 MECE dimensions, how we can specify what type of code we have. If you scroll a little bit up, there are some examples. For instance, on the left, the CSS landing page. Do I really have to review it? For instance, also the Semantic Anchors web page. I don't have to know how the source code looks like, as long as the LLM can maintain it. It's just running in the browser. So that's fine. But if you go to the right, for instance, there is the medical device firmware. Wow.
Okay.
Everything's red. Code type, language safety, and so on. And if you have an LLM in runtime, then it's getting more critical. So this helps me to categorize my software. And if you scroll a little bit down, then you will see those 5 categories as sliders, and you can see what each position of the slider means. So you can see that an untyped language is a little bit more risk than a typed language. So this might be a decision that you might want to go for a typed language, things like that. And there's even a skill included in this web page, which you can use, which goes through your code, analyzes your code, tries to figure out together with you how those sliders should be. And as soon as you made a decision, it creates an ADR according to NIGARD. And so you can give this to your security team, see whether they go with your decision. And after you decided on the type of code, you've seen already the mitigations on the bottom, because Claude told me, hey, it depends on the type of code what you have, how you want to mitigate the risk. So you always should have a linter in place, type checking, things like that. But code review, on level 2, you have an LLM code review, an AI code review, and only on level 3 you get a human review. So my side projects are mostly tier 1 and tier 2.
All right.
So I check the results, and my goal is to find ways to trust the LLM even more. And I noticed that with those checks, I can trust the LLM. And the theory behind it is Eichhorst principle. Ingo Eichhorst once stated in a talk that the LLM behaves like a channel which converts a spec into code, and like the second Shannon theorem, which says you have a channel which has errors on it. You have two ways to solve the error problem. Once you raise the signal, you turn the volume up. That's what you do with the semantic anchors, clear definitions. And the other way is you can place error correction on the channel. And this is what you do with a linter or giving the LLM a compiler, because if you get the code, throw it in the compiler says syntax error line 15, there's a semicolon missing, give it back to the LLM, it has to correct it. And only if it goes through this test, you will accept the code, error correction, you will get syntax error-free code. And you have to know which kind of levels there are where you can do automatic error correction. And with this risk matrix together with the error correction, I'm feeling quite well with the code.
Yeah.
Which comes out of the LLM, which is generated. And it's it says wipe coding risk radar, but it's not wipe coding anymore. It's you have the theory behind it, why it works this way, and how you can make it more stable.
Yeah. That's what I meant in the beginning with all these guardrails that you put outside and around the AI to get more to the point, to steer it in the right direction, to actually avoid that it's even capable of making mistakes, or that it's less likely. Yeah. So
let's get back.
Yeah.
Let's get back to our code.
Yeah. I just wanted to see, where would you state us here with our project? It's probably something like this.
Go to the sliders. So code type, build scripts. So we have DB queries.
Yeah. So this one. We have Java.
Yes. With the DB queries, it's shouldn't we go to business logic just to avoid the tier 3?
Probably because the DB queries should be really simple.
It's not public facing.
Yeah. So it's not public facing. It's an internal tool for our hobby railroad enthusiasts. Data sensitivity, name and email is not even in there. So internal business data or
internal business data.
Yeah. Blast radius. Cosmetic.
Data loss, but it's recoverable on even data loss. I mean, if our maybe so we are tier 2.
Okay, so now we go here. Okay, and now it's 12 locked measures. That's cool. So we only need those two.
We could now install the skill, and the skill has a risk mitigate command, which then goes through the mitigation levels and installs all those linter, type checking, pre-commit hooks, and so on and so on.
Okay, where is the skill? I don't see it.
Documentation.
Yeah. Okay.
Scroll down.
Skills.
Installation.
Okay. So this. No, we have to use
this
both.
one.
Yeah. So. And then this one. successfully added. And now install. Install. Yeah, for you in this repo only. Yes. Yes. Okay. Installed. Okay.
Now you can do a /risk, and then it will. No, it didn't work out. Try to
reload plugins, maybe.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you can do a risk assess.
So it does what we just did on its own.
Yes. Not fully on its own. It will ask questions.
All right.
Now it explores the existing code base and the PRD.
Now it sees that it's a database. So maybe we are going up a thread, a thread level.
But it will ask us whether we want to use tier 3 or.
All right. Medical device, FDA, okay. GDPR, okay.
What we didn't do yet is we could have installed docToolchain to render the documentation. I'm not sure whether we should do it when I take a look at time we have available.
Install this as a skill for Claude?
Wait a moment. No, not as a skill, as a command line tool.
Okay. Yeah, I did not do this yet. Okay, what best describes it? So it didn't.
It's a prototype, personal prototype. It now asks us the parameters.
Yeah, but does it give any hints as to? No. Okay, personal prototype.
Yes, you could do a chat about this. So.
Yeah, okay. But we should, no LLM.
Not in the module we create.
Right. And submit answers, okay. Back to tier 3.
No, it scans for mitigations, whether you already have some pre-commit hooks. Type checking, yeah, it's Java.
Partially, a Quarkus unit is installed, but no tests. Pending, okay. Yeah, because we didn't implement anything of that yet. This should be fine. Creating ADRs.
Yes, go ahead.
Let's do it.
Let's install docToolchain. Maybe you can open another terminal.
Yep.
In the same folder.
Just do it here. Yes, I have to find the folder.
WSL. What it?
Okay. What do we want there?
It's just to have a shell instead of PowerShell, if that's okay. Yeah. So now if you navigate to doctoolchain.org with a browser, sorry.
Okay.
Go to tutorial, scroll a little bit down in the main page, in the installation overview in the main page in the content. And there you have curl.
But there's Windows PowerShell. I would like to use this.
Yes, but your Claude runs on a Linux, so it needs the Linux wrapper.
Yeah, that will be problematic anyway because I'm running in the sandbox.
Yes, but I think it's okay. So copy the curl and change mod commands, those 2 lines.
Okay. So
you have not curl installed?
No, I never use WSL.
Go back to the docs. There should be a wget macOS.
No, this one.
Yes.
There it is.
And now you have to change mod to make it executable. And now do a /DTCV W. So this is a docToolchain wrapper. Space download template with a capital T. One word. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Go to Claude and copy this command over to Claude. You have to use the exclamation. Yeah.
Permission denied.
All right, now you see a summary. The backend lands at tier 3 high risk solely because of its API DB code type. So so we could go lower in the risk. I think we should. Do we have to do a change mod here? I think it already worked. Try to add a bash in front of the ./dt. So exclamation mark bash DTCV without the slash. No. Back.
Oh, dash.
Bash. BASH. Leerzeichen space. DTCW, sorry. Download template.
Oh, that looks good.
Now it's just a question whether it will run interactively, because it will ask us some questions whether we want to install the arc42 template or the requirements 42 template. You've seen the docToolchain website, and this is created with docToolchain. So if we install docToolchain and download the template, then we get everything for free, this website, and can just use a GitLab page to display the website online. So that's quite nice.
Okay.
But I wasn't aware that there are configurations where the bash is not available.
Well, I think WSL is just installed because I'm using Docker. Yeah. And maybe it's WSL2. Wasn't there something with it? No. Oh, I have to exit. No. Okay. But we could actually continue working, right?
Yes.
If we just...
You want to start another sandbox? Does it work?
Well, I should be able to just open this one, I think. So I simply have a...
I think you can go back to the... It just changed the status. Go back to where we just were.
No, 1 second. So I'm clicking exec, so it opens another window, and it actually should open the sandbox here, but it doesn't. Okay. What did you mean?
Go back to the original sandbox. Okay. It needs interactive mode. So normally I install docToolchain in the shell. So let's go on without docToolchain.
Yeah.
So we have the product requirements document, and as you can see, we work with baby steps, micro steps. We exchange thoughts with the LLM, and the LLM interprets those thoughts and creates a bigger product requirement document, which is quite nice. We could try to work from it, but then it's not baby steps. Next baby step is to create a spec and an architecture document. So let's tell the LLM, Claude, to please create a specification and an Arc42 document from the requirements written down in the PRD.
The PRD. No.
Yes, product requirements document.
Yeah. Okay.
I also struggle with this abbreviation because it always looks like prod to me, production.
Yeah, exactly.
So it now got the task, and if it picks up our contracts, it knows to create a specification with use cases for those two stakeholders, those two personas which were created. Yep. Those use cases should have activity diagrams, not only with a happy path, but also with other paths. And it should create acceptance criteria with Gherkin.
Okay.
And Gherkin means behavior-driven development. And this is easy to implement in the tests.
I'm excited to see, because I just have bad experiences with Gherkin and behavior-driven development. Never worked for me quite well because it was just too much work to get them to run.
You know, yeah, that's a problem I do see. That's why I like Spock really much, because in Spock you have the behavior-driven development, nearly Gherkin spec within the code. So you see the spec and the code together, and with Cucumber, it's two files. And so a product owner really love Gherkin to specify the acceptance criteria, but then they throw them over the fence and the developer don't know how to handle it.
Yeah. Okay. So it wrote a couple of things. Arc42. Now I have to move this over here, kill the preview, and then open it again. Okay. No, let's get over the contents. So the requirement overview constrains system scope, solution strategy, building block view. Oh, that's interesting.
So now it
this should be a diagram.
Yeah, it doesn't render it in your case. You could copy it over to Croaky. That would be the fastest way to do it.
To where?
Croaky.io. Go to the browser.
Yeah.
KROKK. The K as not C.
Oh, okay. This one, the first one.
Yes. The second one is also K. I.io.
Croaky, oh God. Okay. Croaky creates diagrams. Yes.
So it's a great server which converts your text diagram into a diagram. It uses, I think, about 25 different libraries. So Plant.uml is a standard one. Now,
maybe there is just an error here. I mean, that could very well be that there's a syntax error.
It should display the error, but sometimes I always use a local Croaky server, and somehow it currently doesn't display anything. So on the right, if you go to the drop down and change the diagram type, it will come up with other defaults, demos, and just select something. And yes, on the right, the picture should change, so it doesn't work. Great for a demo.
It doesn't. Maybe there's a button that I have to press. Okay, another idea to install an extension. Right?
I will now use GitHub Codespace to start another environment. So when you push the code, then we can take a look at the web version.
The LLM is done anyway. So,
but as you can see, it creates an architecture documentation with diagrams, and this is my dashboard. I don't read the full documentation, but I take a look at the diagrams, whether I think that I've chosen the right modules. Yeah, and with docToolchain, we now could have rendered it. You could ask Claude to render it as HTML.
Yeah. Give me one second, one more try to see if this works, but I don't think it does. No. Okay. You want to copy this probably and convert it. No,
you can just tell Claude to render the ARC42 document as HTML or PDF.
Okay. But I did push my changes, so you should be able to take over.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway. ASCII Doctor, docToolchain.
But it will try to install it, so it depends now on your firewall.
That's interesting. So we are in a Docker sandbox, but you can still run a Docker container in there.
Docker in Docker, that's great.
Yeah.
So
yeah, okay.
Do you see the docs?
Yeah, I'll put your screen on the display, right?
Yep.
Here we go.
So I do have the same problem. Why the plant UML diagrams embedded in Skidoc not rendered in the preview, and I should have switched to Claude. Oh my God. So I'm so used to Claude that I do not use the
command line anymore.
Yeah. Wait, should have been.
Okay, my ASCII doctor image is finally downloaded and now it's rendering, but it did not finish yet.
I will now go ahead and also install docToolchain here, because here it will work because we have a bash. So and I can do a DTCW download template. It will pull docToolchain as a Docker image.
Okay, so I can finally show that.
Great.
Graphic, yeah.
So that's the runtime view. Let's take a look at the building blocks. Wow. We have a REST API layer, we have a domain, we have service layer, we have infrastructure. It looks more complex than a normal, simple demo should be.
Yeah, that's what I thought now. But so, I mean, it is pretty straightforward. So for station, timetable, and train, each there is a resource, a service, and a repository, which is good, I think.
It's already level 2.
Oh yeah, let's go back to level 1 first.
The hobbyist and the agent. Vaadin UI, REST API, domain and services, infrastructure.
And then we have our database. Okay.
So this is a dashboard where I get an overview of the architecture, where I can see whether I'm on the same level as Claude, whether we have the same thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good overview.
Now let's have a look at the spec.
What do you mean with spec?
We asked it to create the architecture and a spec. There should be a spec file somewhere.
Oh, not sure. So this is...
You said it.
I don't think so.
It finished? Let's see what it says.
Well, now it finished with the plant UML, but before that...
Okay. Oh, one open point flagged. ADI is needed before implementation starts.
Okay. So it still needs some information, but it didn't really ask it. Yeah.
So tell Claude to decide on the ADR. We trust Claude. And tell it to continue with the spec
of the 6. So I'm not sure if I should commit all these These
generated.
things.
No, yeah. This should be part of the ignore file, git ignore.
Don't need this. Okay. So it only talks in these terms with BRs and Rs. So these are some terms in ARC42, right?
No, it's defined in the product requirement document. So R6 should be the requirement 6, and BR is a business rule. So by creating the product requirements document, it established a semantic contract between you and the LLM.
Yeah, but I didn't read it. So
yeah. But that's a situation where you can ask Claude, what's R6?
Error
active record.
Written and closed the decision repository pattern. Yes, I like this. Made it clear. Where's the Pew matrix?
Go to the ADR. Preview.
Record. What is this? Here we go.
There's a Pew matrix. So you see the options which are available and the criteria by which they are evaluated. And you see the active record as a reference. So it's has a valuation of 0. And then you can easily evaluate the others against the reference. So the repository seems to be, in terms of functional correctness, better than the active record. Plain JPA seems to be the same. And so it sums up those evaluations and says repository seems to be the best. You could change the quality goals. So that
that's really good. That's good. So for one thing, you have the whole thought process of the LLM documented in this ADR, and you also can really read it very well, or can understand why the decision was made in this matrix.
Yes.
So it's like a pros and cons list, but more
it's
flexible.
Better because when you now have a fourth option, you can just put another column and just evaluate it.
And you can weigh some things more. So you could say that operability is more important, and then you say +2.
Yes.
Get that right? Yeah. Okay.
Then you would ask the LLM to use a weighted Pew matrix.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. So now.
So you see, we built up some documents. So Peter Nauer stated in 1985 that the model the code is not the full truth. You need a mental model to maintain the code. And what we create here is a mental model. Is why we decided on this and not on that, and all this background knowledge which we just built up. I mean, currently, yes, the LLM Claude asked us to make the decision together with us. So if we would have had more time, we could have created this ADR together with Claude. But you see the transparency, you see why it does it, and you can Yeah, it's just a good documentation.
Yeah, and what I like about this is it's very well structured. So with guided coding, we also had we created a plan up ahead, a very long plan for the LLM, and we had to read it all and adjust some things. But it was just text basically with a few headlines and stuff like that, but no diagrams or anything. So it was really a long process to understand the complete specification. And then the idea was that you adjust these specifications until you have a file that perfectly suits your needs, and then you tell the LLM to implement it. But in this way, I like, first of all, that it's more exploratively, yeah. So you start off with a pretty simple idea, and step by step you get asked important questions about the architecture or about the direction. And not only does the LLM build the understanding for the application, but it also documents it in a very nice and readable way with diagrams and different files. I like this very much so far.
And isn't this the agile way, so that we first have a rough aim where we want to go and then we refine it, see where it leads us, and oh no, let's go the other way. So make decisions on the junctions. Hey, we have an ADR. Let's make a decision whether to go left or right or straight. So I think that's the way it should be.
Exactly.
But now tell it, okay, we now have the ARC42 document, but please now create the spec.
Now create the spec. Let's leave this please out.
Yeah. And now the good part is that when you read about other approaches, even other spec-driven approaches, most of the time they leave out the architecture. Sometimes they reference something as architecture, which lives in the CLAUDE.md file or agents.md file.
Yeah.
It's just the tech stack, not much more. ARC42 covers all you need to have in an architecture, and we now have it. And now in the spec, it doesn't have to repeat the technology stack and things like that. I mean, we already had it as constrained right from the start. Maybe it's I think it's chapter 3 where the constraints live, that it has noted it down there.
It's chapter 2 here.
Yeah, chapter 2, yeah. These are not decisions, these are constraints. They were there up front. And by the way, you said with the diagrams, if you talk about those diagrams with the LLM will tell you, hey, CLAUDE.md is great, also Mermaid and so on, because the LLM can read the textual description of the diagram, and we as humans can see them. So it's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you said in the beginning is very true. So I used to be in projects where we have documentation and it's even somehow maintained, but it's not in the code. It's somewhere else, in Atlassian Confluence or Jira or somewhere like this. And so as time goes by, the documentation isn't accurate anymore because things change and the documentation is not maintained. So the first step was to put the documentation as close to the code as possible. and that's in the repository. And if you put it as a doc or MD file, you have it right there. But still, you have to think to adjust it. So if you change some code, maybe you have to change the documentation as well. But with the LLM, you can simply tell it to always adjust the documentation if something changes.
Yes.
And you don't have to think about that much more. So is that defined in our CLAUDE.md with our semantic contract?
That it has to sync the documentation back. I'm not sure about it. It's in the workflow. There's a part where I say, come on, let's see whether we have to sync it. But what's I think more interesting is, for instance, when you have a legacy project and most of the time you have the documentation somewhere as a rule in a wiki or maybe in a Word file. When you use docToolchain, you have scripts which convert the ASCII doc files to Confluence or to Word or PDF, so that you can merge the, for instance, the user manual, which is kept in Confluence, with the architecture, which is kept in a Git repository. So this also really helps. And with the syncing back, what we can do when the spec is ready, spec RDoc written and rendered. Great. So no, not pre-recorded.
Thanks.
We wouldn't have made so many mistakes in a pre-recording.
It would be a pretty bad pre-recording.
Yes. So maybe it looks so perfect that it just works as a dark factory that looks like pre-recorded. So what we can do now is do an ATAM review, for instance, architecture trade-off and analysis method. So Claude knows how to do such a review, and it would check whether the architecture will fit the spec.
What was it called?
ATAM.
Ah, here we go. All right. Just wanted to make sure that not that we have to add another semantic anchor. Okay.
You know, we should have created an HTML page with bingo cards before, so that all our viewers could have checked off the semantic anchors they found. So you see, we have business rules. It used the EARS syntax, activity diagrams, acceptance criteria in Gherkin. That is such a great specification. Entity model.
So it did write it, right? So it should be somewhere. Yes. Here we go.
Persona use case, system use cases, and additional specs. Business rules, activity diagrams. Wow, everything you can wish for when you are a developer. Not pre-recorded, just created now on the fly.
Yeah. Still not looking too,
not rendering
too well.
it,
Yeah.
But it created an HTML file for you, it said.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's nice. So here we are, and this should be spec. Okay, so I would be interested in the entity model. Train table stuff. Okay. What else is there? Like persona use case. What is this? Use the actor submits the station name, not empty.
Take a look at activity diagrams. They will be clearer.
Ah, yes. Nice.
Can you imagine that Claude will easily implement this?
Yes. No, I think as from a LLM kind of perspective, it is all pretty simple.
But when you have all those flows and when you have those Gherkin acceptance criteria, I mean, test-driven development, you just first transform the Gherkin acceptance test in a real test, run it, it will be read, yeah, great, implement it, and you implement the behavior. So you do not, I mean, the Gherkin acceptance criteria are written at a moment where the implementation is not even thought of. It's just technology free. So I think they were, where are the entity model acceptance criteria? Yeah, let's go to the acceptance criteria.
Where is it?
Chapter 5.
5. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't know what kind of syntax highlighting this is.
Yeah,
but
that's a bit strange.
Feature scenarios given when, then, and name Hamburg Hauptbahnhof.
Yeah, reject those. Okay.
Reject blank station name. We set in the contract not only the happy path, we also want to have the fault.
Yes. Okay. And we expect these scenarios to be completely implemented as automated tests, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So we should just let it implement, right?
Yes. So the next step I use is that I ask the LLM to create GitHub, to create epics and stories as GitHub issues according to the spec.
Okay. Let's try
Baby
it.
steps.
Create epic and tasks.
Stories.
Stories.
Epics and stories. That's what I call them.
On GitHub.
According to the spec. In order to implement the whole spec.
Yeah, according the. All right. So we have a couple of questions. So NSDR is asking if they can help, but I don't think so. Not yet. And Martin Kuhlmann is asking, what is the advantage of downloading the semantic anchors and copying them into the construction file? So probably the semantic contracts, over putting them into skills and referencing the skills in the instruction file.
So yes, we distinguish between semantic anchors, which are already known to the LLM, and the semantic contracts, which we have to tell the LLM what they are. So architecture documentation is ARC42 with ADRs according to NIGARD and so on and so on. And yes, we could copy them to skill files. But to be honest, we would need an instruction for the skill file, and this could be even longer than the contract already. So that's why I think it makes sense to copy it to the agents.md or CLAUDE.md file. So You could also create skills, yes.
So I guess we would have to look at each section separately, because some things you just want to have active all the time.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And
it
for
should
some
know
things,
about those contracts.
Yeah, and some things may be only just active to if you do certain things. So a skill would be more appropriate. Okay, and Philip Armon asks or says, on the topic of stale documentation, simply change the default process from code first to specs, ADRs, and business rules first, and the problem of stale documentation is gone. These decisions are made first anyway. In general, you don't change code first and only afterward make up the reason for this change.
So I stated a golden rule in the description of the spec-driven workflow I use, which is I never put my cursor into the editor file anymore. So I do not change the code. I tell the LLM to implement something different, and it creates an issue for it, and then changes the code, and it still has to think about to change whether it need to change the spec. So the loop is between the issue and the code, not directly between the spec and the code. That's a problem, because I wouldn't say stale documentation. It drifts away from the spec, and so I think we could brush up the process a little bit from this point of view, but most of the time it just works to say, hey, can you check whether we have to change the specification? What's also quite interesting is that with a test-driven approach, not always are the edge cases covered. And so I had the experience that a CLI tool was fully implemented, and then I told Claude to do some manual tests in order to find bugs through edge cases. So it iterated over the tool, found some bugs, and noticed that the specification was missing some decisions there on the edge cases. And then it went back to specification and brushed it up.
So I'm not sure if this question is only aimed at AI, because I think this is true for non-AI work as well. So if you go to write the specifications or the ADRs first, I think by nature it should be that the documentation wouldn't go stale as fast as the other way around, because at least I have the experience that usually you at some point are just happy that you implemented it the right way, and then you let the documentation slide and drift off, basically.
Exactly.
I think that's a good approach. And Steve A asks, you guys building Cucumber test scripts? Well, not quite. This is just part of the specification, right?
Yeah. So we use Gherkin because it's a semantic anchor. It knows how to specify Gherkin, but we do not necessarily have to use Cucumber to implement the scripts, because you can just transform the Gherkin script to any other unit test framework.
Okay. And I don't fully understand this. Since, in my opinions, LLMs are trained on rewarding systems and faster responses, there is always a higher chance LLM choosing path of least resistance, for example, adding ignore comments on type errors.
I think this is past knowledge. It's the LLMs got better and better and better. That's also something I noticed. I mean, we all struggled to do coding with the LLMs because they had those problems and other problems. And people now found ways how they can do agentic coding, and they pat themselves on the shoulder that they found the holy grail. And to be honest, I think those LLMs got better and better and better. And as you can see, we don't have to do much. It's just doing its magic. And so I think the LLMs, I don't know whether this is still a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really annoying to see the bugs which usually catch by linted art duct tape fixed by LLM. Yeah.
Yes.
I saw that too, that sometimes even some tests are just deactivated because it can't implement them correctly. But I think that's an edge case. Yeah, and probably the LLM is getting better.
Yes.
Okay, so it says it created the issues. Let's see the actual code here. Issues.
These are only 13 issues, 3 epics. So this is a moment where I would ask it whether these are all issues needed to implement the whole spec. This might fit together with a question we just had, that the LLM tries to use shortcuts.
Yeah. But at some point sorry?
When I take a look at those stories, they already have references to the spec and to the business rules, and they contain the acceptance criteria.
Okay, if we are taking a look inside them, okay. Oh, okay.
I think it's not synced yet, the spec.
Oh yeah, you're right. We should actually upload it. Yeah. Not sure if this is the right path. Stocks spec.
Seems to be the... Yeah. Maybe it's a relative link. Maybe that's a problem.
Yeah.
Issue stocks, yeah. So
well, anyways, that's minor issue. But it does reference it. So inside the LLM, if it's working on that issue, it automatically knows the correct area of the specification.
We could also tell it to fix those reference links, but let's go on with the implementation. I think it's already quite nice to have those reference to the spec.
Should have. Okay. But looking at the time, we should actually just implement something, I think.
So let's use the first epic and tell the LLM to analyze the first epic and its stories and write the result of the analysis to the GitHub issues. Of the epics and stories. So you just instructed only to the second part. Baby steps. So it now has the acceptance criteria and the reference to the spec, but now it should analyze it and write more details.
Yeah.
So let's see. The first epic is which one? Station management?
Yeah, some management, train management, the timetable. If you're going numeric, this should be the first one, the station.
Why is it number 3?
Because I created a test issue
to
see,
okay.
Because I wasn't sure if in Docker sandboxes I can use the GitHub command line tool, but I can without doing anything. And I'm not sure. I did make a pull request from your fork of the repository, so that was probably number 2.
By the way, you are now using your own GitHub user, and you already noticed that I have 2 users. So I have my normal user, Ralf, and I have Ralf, so R-A-I-F.
Yeah.
And
should be somewhere.
I always use as a second user as an AI user. So Claude Code is its own user, and so I don't have to give it access to everything I own on GitHub. Only it has to fork my repositories, work on a fork, send pull requests, and if I want to do reviews, I can then do reviews on the pull request. And I will always have a trail where I see what Claude did and where I reviewed a pull request.
Yeah, that's probably a good pattern. Yeah, so I think it's still analyzing. Oh, okay.
So it started to write commands. So I see the station management. There is a command layer structure, REST layer, service layer, infra layer, domain layer, domain entity. It now created some code, DTOs, missing dependencies, test strategy, implementation order. Now it first wants to create the scaffold domain layer. And there I also see POM changes, page structure, package structure, placeholder classes. So you're currently still in Epic. So it wants to implement first the scaffold number 6. Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter which one.
See? Oh, yeah. Okay, it didn't link that one. Yeah, let's go to number 6 here. Okay.
Yeah, my entity Java is deleted. The demo entity.
Yeah. This one. Yeah. There's one single entity. Yeah, this one.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the analysis command it created. There was more in the issue in the story.
Yeah. Okay.
Scroll down a bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's adding all these dependencies in the POM. It creates a package structure of all the classes.
Do you see what I mean when I say baby steps, micro steps?
Yeah. I like this. It's still using def Rabauer as a package name. That's good. Placeholder. Okay, no business logic.
Now, what we don't have implemented are all those those correction layer, a linter and so on.
Yeah,
That was what was called with a wise coding the back pressure, but which is more or less a correction loop. But time's running out, so let's ask the LLM to implement epic, the first epic.
What model are we using? Do I see that anywhere? I have to ask, right?
Yeah, do it.
Model. Then
Just, yeah.
model.
I think it waits until it's our turn again. So,
okay.
But I think it's some auto mode, so it will use something Sonnet 4.6 or something like this. But now, with all the specification, can you imagine that the coding runs like a hot knife through butter?
Yeah. So because we scoped it pretty tightly to what it should do, we even said what classes are there to implement to write. So it should be very streamlined, and there are not a lot of areas of error.
Yeah, Claude did it. That's important. Simon Brown said 2 days ago or something like this on LinkedIn that the spec-driven development, the problem is that the developer doesn't want to write specs. We didn't write specs. We told the LLM what we want to implement. And we did those baby steps to get a PRD, to get an architecture, to get specs, to get epics, to get stories, to get analyze stories, to get the code.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we basically, it's not even a pull request. It's not even a peer review of the documentation, because we just skimmed over it. We didn't read the complete documentation and the specification.
I mean, if the code works, do you want to read the specification? And if it doesn't work, you will also ask Claude why it implemented it this way and not the other way around.
Oh, it even switched to a new branch. That's nice.
I think that's part of the semantic contract.
That would be nice. Yeah. Nice. Good ideas in there.
And you see, now that the contracts are so small, they are easily to maintain. If you want to change this behavior, you just have a few lines where you have to look for the behavior and change it.
That's pretty cool. That's really, really good. I hope that if it, well, no. Does it create a UI here? So we have a service and the domain.
I think it's
no UI.
Currently only the REST API.
That will be later on, probably. And that's a pity, because then we can't really show anything. But maybe that's in that epic.
But maybe we can publish this repository so that everybody can try it for itself, himself, herself, to see how this approach works.
Yeah. I mean, the whole documentation is online already.
And as you can see, only when we ask it to analyze the stories, it started to write code which is language dependent. So before that, I think there wasn't too much specs which were technology stack dependent. I mean, there's a technology stack in the architecture, but this is, I mean, now you can try to change the architecture, to change the language, to change the data layer, and ask the LLM to re-implement the spec according to the new architecture.
Yeah,
that's something I still want to give a try, but I have the feeling that the spec is quite good to succeed in that.
Well, I guess the spec isn't all platform independent, because we said right from the start that it should be that it should use Quarkus, Vaadin, Hibernate.
These parts are part of the architecture, not of the specification.
Ah, so you think there is no mention of this in the specification here?
Search for Quarkus in the specification.
No. Java, no. Vaadin, nothing. UI, well, that's not even UI. Front end, nothing.
So maybe we didn't specify that we want to have a graphical front end. So maybe we left it out in the PRD.
No, but there is a mention of the human interaction, right?
Through the LLM.
No, we have two actors.
Yes.
Hobbyist or agent.
Create a station. I think the system thought we do it through the agent, through the CLI.
Well, that would explain why there is no mention of the UI in the issues.
And why we only have 13 issues. But since we then have a REST API, I think that would be another session where we add the spec for the UI.
Okay, implement the first one. I would like to see analyze the first epic. No, before that, are these really all issues? Missing. So no flyway, okay. I don't even know if we mentioned that. Global error response mapper, okay, that's fine. Missing Vaadin.
Yeah, okay. So you see, I do not review, but I check for those problems. Yeah. I ask whether these are all stories. Let's do an atom review. Let's do a code review, a security review, a maintainability review. And you get different results for it. You ask it to write a report. You ask it to turn the report into GitHub issues. And you ask it to analyze those issues and implement those issues.
Yep.
But what about the current implementation? How far did it get?
Okay, it's on the testing side, so I imagine it already it created the Java files, the main view. Oh, what? No. Oh, what is this? This is wrong.
Oh, it's using work trees. You see, that this is what I mean when I say the LLMs get better and better, and the harness gets better and better, so that Claude just uses work trees without specifying it. Great.
Yeah. Okay, it has repositories, resources. Now it's still creating the tests. No, it's already running the tests. It's nice. So there's a question, are we from a management background or engineers? So I'm a software developer.
Yes, software developer, and I try to get to be a good architect, software solution architect, and no management background. But now the LLM forces us to move to product owner, product engineer.
Yeah.
Because the product owner would know about timetabling solutions. We know about the data layer and the API that distinguishes us from the product owner. And we shouldn't forget this, because when we do those side projects, we feel like a product owner because we implement something which we know by heart, where we can be the product owner, but we are more or less a product engineer and need a product owner who knows the product by heart, which has to be implemented. What I really like is that it now works on its own. It works until it's finished. 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't need to ask questions anymore because everything is specified and everything it needs, it should be able to read from the documentation. But I guess the running takes a while to build and download all the dependencies. Guess that takes a while.
And now that you can see, I mean, we are over time now.
Yep.
So when you do just wipe coding, then 2 hours is enough to come up with a prototype. But when you do such an agentic approach and you write proper specifications and so on, and we didn't create all those correction loops, and it takes quite some time. And then you have to, closed number 6, 7, 8, 9. Here we go.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Oh, and okay. So,
create a pull request. Great.
Yeah. So let's see. What? Where did it create this pull request?
What did it say? You can create one. You can create one by visiting. So there is a branch.
Yeah, okay.
And from this branch, the feature Epic 3 station management branch, I see.
Yeah. Where is it?
You are not signed up. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. Okay.
You can switch to my screen
Oh, yeah.
because I now open the pull request. So we could tell Claude to create the pull requests, and there would be a nice description. Files changed 21. So we have the domain. So
deleted the example.
As I said, I don't know those technologies. Yeah, this example deleted. That's great. I would like to, REST interface, DTO, and the test. Isn't it great? Use case 1, system case.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So you always have the reference. Given, when, then. So the acceptance criteria have been transformed into tests.
Yeah.
Mockito mocks first, so it's London School. So
yeah.
Now you can take some time and review all the code, or you can just trust it.
Yeah. Okay, but that's really good. So we kind of are at the end here, I guess, with coding.
Yes, I think so. I think we demonstrated a lot of strategies which might be helpful for some of our viewers. Yeah.
Exactly. So what we did was we explored semantic anchors, or what's the idea behind it. And especially what we actually just used are the semantic contracts, which use a lot of these semantic anchors, of these just keywords, basically, for the LLM to do certain things a certain way. And then we went into coding. We actually created an ARC42. What was this?
First, the product requirements document.
Yeah, this was the first one. Product requirement document.
The LLM did it.
Right?
By first
and then
using the Socratic approach to ask us questions.
Exactly, that was the question part. And then the second part was creating an ARC42 document, right?
After the PRD.
Without questions, actually. I think everything was at least clear to the LLM.
There was this one ADR. It noticed that we have to make a decision.
Exactly. And from that, we went into the specification. And according to the specification, we created, the LLM created issues. And now we can analyze those issues and let them implement.
And by the way, because you were running in a sandbox, a freshly generated sandbox, it was a fresh CLAUDE instance without any prior knowledge, without any skills, agents, or something like this defined. So it's easily to reproduce it.
Cool. So I'm a big fan of that whole setup or approach. It seems like a lot more architecture work that you have to do before you actually code anything, before you see anything, any results. But I guess this way you have a lot more documentation, and you have a pretty good feeling of, without reading everything the LLM produces, you have a pretty good feeling of where the adventure goes, where the LLM wants to go. Except we did miss that it at some point decided that we don't need a UI for the MVP. That we did miss.
So it was not pre-recorded.
Yeah.
That's a proof.
Right. Okay. So, Ralf, thank you very much for showing that whole system. It was really interesting to me. I hope to the viewers as well. Do you have anything to add? Any last words, so to speak?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the session. Thanks for inviting me. I hope that people take a look at the semantic anchors contributed. I mean, we contributed this one anchor now live, and I will now just ask Claude to check whether it really is an anchor. And so enjoy it and add to the community approach. I share all of this just to discuss with the community, the approach, and to evolve it. So be part of the community. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you again, Ralf. Thanks to all the viewers. Thank you for participating. I love all these questions and comments. And one thing I have to add, next week I have a session with Simon Martinelli on Spec-Driven Development.
Great.
So this will be interesting as well.
Yes, that's quite valuable.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So Thank you too, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.